Well, darling, there's only one God. Darling, there's only.
Welcome to the Dirty Bag Podcast. I'm your host, Cookie, and today I'm doing an episode that originally was going to be two of us. There was going to be someone else on the other side of my computer, but God had different plans. So, thing about me, and I've spoke about it before, that being in the movement is the thing that changed my life back in 2014. Being in Ferguson and being a part of something so revolutionary, so transformative, I met a lot of people. And there are some people that just stole a piece of my heart and became chosen family. And one of those people was a man by the name of Orlando Pretty Boy Watson. Basically, anybody that's anybody in St. Louis knows who this is. Record producer, he started his own label. Any type of major concert at a place called The Pageant. So if you're from St. Louis, you already know what The Pageant is, but this is a spot that brought in and continues to bring in big names. So if you went to see Meg Thee Stallion, if you caught Tiana Taylor, Jeezy, anybody of like anybody of the sort, if you caught any of those shows, you can thank Orlando. He was a workaholic. He was a boss, philanthropist. He was an activist. He was everything, to be honest with you. But more than that, he was a fighter. I would say to date, strongest fighter I know, best fighter I know, selfless man. When I first started coming to Ferguson, and again, I was driving all the way from Kansas, where I was living, for work. When I would come back home, there were three people that I always followed to kind of keep up with what was going on. So those people were Haiku, a.k.a., well, Brian Lohman, a.k.a. Haiku, who to date I would say is one of the best storytellers of our time. Amina Ali, who was one of the founders of Real STL News, so probably one of the biggest go-tos for media in St. Louis to date. And then there was Orlando. I met him in the streets, and I basically crowned him captain of the light skin committee, because that's literally what the fuck he was. Like, you just, when you look up quintessential light skin nigga in the dictionary, it's a picture of Orlando. So, quick synopsis of Orlando's story outside of him being the boss that he was and being involved in community and making so many things happen and just being the entrepreneur. He battled cancer. He was diagnosed back in 2006. He fought it, beat it. So we're talking 14 years cancer free. I think one of the biggest things that he was proud of is the I'm a Survivor Cancer Gala. All white gala, very lavish. He created that after beating cancer and also to honor his mother who passed away of cancer also. And really to advocate for people that were fighting, you know, though it was worth celebrating that you could take a battle like that head on and come out on the other side. So I had the luxury, I'm not going to say the luxury, but the pleasure of being invited by him and coming out, I believe that was 2015. And it was just a testament to what type of person he was. What a beautiful spirit, a selfless spirit, and how he was always giving back and how he was always connected to community. Well, during COVID, cancer came back. It came back swinging. But before we really get into that, we can talk about what he was doing during that time. So anybody knows that the chances of a restaurant closing within its first year is roughly 50, 60%. A lot of restaurants just simply don't survive. He started one, Prime 55, well, co-owner of Prime 55 in the Del Mar Loop. Dope restaurant. He basically created an upscale experience that he felt that was needed for that area, and it did really well. Most restaurants shut down, and y'all know I was an MDM for Coke during that time, so a lot of restaurants didn't survive. But as he is battling cancer again, he decides to open a second location. Like, that's how much of a beast he was. Nothing slowed him down. Nothing phased him. Like, he was somebody that it was some bad news. He was going to find a solution, or he wasn't going to let it get him down too long, regardless of what was going on. I want to talk about one of my moments with Orlando where he really humbled me. So, back in 2016, and this would be the year towards the end of 2016 that I decided I was done with the movement. I went to my last protest. Something very unfortunate happened. We lost another frontline warrior during that time. And because of his proximity to someone very close to me, there was a lot going on, a lot of chaos. It wasn't a good situation at all. And I remember being just very angry and very hurt. And he reached out to me to get a better understanding of what was going on, because that was someone that he cared about as well. And I'm gonna tell y'all, I remember just going off, just cussing. Fuck this shit. I'm done with this fake ass movement. I'm out of here. I'm done. When I tell you during that time, folks would refer to the movement like it was some corporate, some corporate position that we were putting in our 2 week notice for. I'm sick of this shit. I'm done. I'm out of here. And rightfully so, I was very angry, and I just felt very hurt by some things. He let me get my issue off. And I remember him saying, you know what, take all the time you need, but you got work to do. He said, as long as you are black, you will be fighting for the rest of your life. Take care of your family, take time to re-energize, but don't focus so much on a movement, but focus on the legacy you want to leave behind and the work you want to do. And it was such a dope thing, and it made all the sense in the world, because that's kind of how he was. He found ways to bring things back into perspective. But I didn't want to hear that shit. That's not what I wanted at that time. I wanted him to agree with me that people were trash and that I was right in my rage during that time. And he wouldn't let me have that at all. And that's just kind of how Orlando was. He wasn't going to stew in negativity. He was going to figure it out. He was going to find a solution, or he was going to call you to find a solution to be better, to never go low, to not stoop to anybody's pettiness. That's just not the type of person he was. We would butt heads sometimes, and I'm very strong-willed. And when he has an opinion about something, I mean, he's open to learning, but he would stand his ground on his opinions as well, especially if it was something that he's seen firsthand or that he had experience with. And I remember there was one subject matter that I just wasn't letting go. I was not letting go. He looked at it from the standpoint of somebody that had been in the music industry for a long time, so he'd seen a lot of things. I was coming from the perspective of a woman who'd been through some things, and I wanted him to see my point of view. So we wasn't seeing eye to eye at all. And with me, when I want to get a point across, and if you are not hearing me or not agreeing to something that I deem to be very serious, I get a little extra. I get feisty. I get a little spicy, and I did that with him. And I remember it getting to the point where he had to go ahead and just hop off the Facebook and just kind of slide me a message. And he was like, yo, you biting my head off right now. What's your problem? And I kind of explained to him where I was coming from. So I wrote another dissertation. He did the same. And eventually at the end, we were like, all right, so we both can agree that maybe we should just wait and see how this situation plays out, because really, neither one of us knows what really happened. But in that moment, I was able to be vulnerable with him and share something traumatic that happened to me that had shaped my views on the subject at hand. And he said, you know what? I figured that. But in that moment, he apologized, and I felt seen. And I really feel like afterwards, as best as he could, he treated me with kitten gloves. I became more a little sis to him afterwards, because now he saw that a lot of how I moved, my opinions on things, how I could be a little high-strung, it came from a little bit of a damaged place that I was still working through and that I was clearly still healing through. And I really respected that. And one of the things about Orlando is that he was really big on people telling their story. He wanted to make sure history was documented. So, especially as it pertains to the movement, because to date, I would say, and I mean, we lost him on Easter. Of all days, we would lose him on Easter. And I feel like Orlando never did anything small. So, naturally, it's on brand for him to not leave this world small. Resurrection Sunday, it's a clear message, it's a huge message. But he was really big on telling your story while you had the opportunity to, making sure that history knew who you were and what you did. And I love that. And eventually, it got to a point with this here platform to where I started joking around with them. Now, I would say about 4 years ago, I talked about doing a podcast, but at that time, I jokingly told him we was gonna fight. I was like, I'm gonna bring you on whenever I start one, and we gonna fight. So I want to say this was right around the time. I can say 2018, about 2018. I started joking around about it. But he was really big on you making sure that you told your story, so nobody told it for you. So I reached out to him like, yo, you gonna come rap on the podcast or no? And I'm joking. I'm not thinking he's gonna take me seriously. This man has a huge platform, huge influence. He's connected to stars. He's done this, that, and the third. He's worked with all these people. Ain't no way he's gonna come on my little platform. And surprisingly, he was like, yeah, sis, let's do it. Not only let's do it, but let's move quick. Cause we ain't got time to waste. I don't want to put things off anymore. And life is short. I feel like as optimistic as he was, he knew what he was dealing with. And the fact that he agreed to come bless my platform at the time. And again, I had to, in that moment, I had to say, stop calling your shit little. First of all, there's power in the tongue. Words have power. So stop talking down on your shit. When you call it little, you really are. And it made me so happy that he trusted me and he was enthusiastic. He seemed more excited about it than I did. And I'm like, oh, well, goddamn. Like, bro, gonna come on here. We gonna rap. And I respected so much his moves and everything that he was doing in the face of adversity and the fact that we were in a whole pandemic. He's battling cancer again. He's opening he's doing these things with this restaurant. He's an amputee now. He lost his leg about a year ago. And it seems like every time he got hit with something, he came back that much stronger. He came back that much more innovative. He focused on his legacy and the things that he was passionate about and seeing what else he could do. And there's so many of us that walk around in fear for whatever reason of just making moves. And he was fearless. He was absolutely fucking fearless. And I admired that so much about him. And sometimes it made me sit back and go, girl, what are you bitching about? What are you waiting on? This man is fighting for his life. And every day he's still getting on Facebook and he's inspiring. He has something positive to say. You was getting tagged in a post. And I guess at the time I would look at it like, okay, I got another notification. He got something going on or he's about to say something or, he just has some thoughts. Thank you for including me, but I didn't realize how important it was. I would say I didn't realize until one of his last posts, and that was him being honored 314 Day. They created an award recently named after him for people in leadership, the Orlando Watson, I believe it's Community Award. I might be missing out what the exact title is, but it's the Orlando Watson Award. And you get it for making moves. Basically, boss moves. You're making moves in the community. And he was so happy about it. And he literally found out about it the day he left the cancer center for his regular appointment, and they basically let it be known that he needed to go ahead and get his affairs in order because there was nothing more they could do for him. And even getting that news, still optimistic. He had this thing. It ain't over till it's over. And I guess what I have to do now, because I got to quote him. I have to quote him. And Jesus, shit. as the meds and when everything really started to wear on him, even then he would still say, he would always tell me, I'm never too busy for you. You're never bothering me. And for somebody to say that and mean it, for somebody to rock with you the long way. Whew. After he publicly shared the news that the doctor told him there was nothing more they could do for him, and I was one of the last people that he tagged in that post, and that meant something because you're making sure that people that you respect and that you want to continue to speak your name, because that man wasn't turning his flowers down. It scared me, but it meant so much at the same time. I felt like talking to him over the past few months, he really prepared me and others that he was going to fight until it was over, but it was very much a fight. I reached out to him and I said, I feel like I need to say something, but I don't know what I need to say. I don't know what I should be saying to you right now. And his response was, I love you, baby girl. I love you, baby girl. And whatever happens, just remember that this one man in particular had a mountain of respect for you without one single thing attached. Salute to you always. And let him know, dude, don't talk like that. Like, that makes me sad. Like, I don't want to hear that right now. I feel like you're going to be here forever, and I'm just trying to figure out how to not disrespect you by not living to my fullest potential. And his response, his response was, we're going to keep fighting and see where this thing goes. I feel as though nobody could handle the battle he went through but him. And he gave us, Orlando gave us an example. He was living proof of life done right. He was living proof of life done right. He maximized every opportunity, every chance he got, he gave back. He was always positive. He never wavered in his faith. He never, ever wavered in his faith. No matter what went on, he always believed, and he would always remind us, God has the final say. I feel like what he also taught me, and I'm sure many others, is that listen to the crazy ones. He talked to me about Hulda Clark, that is the doctor in Mexico that treated him the first time he was diagnosed. And she would have been over 100 years old this year. He talked about how sweet of a lady she was and how he wished she was still here because she took such good care of him. He said that she was the one genius, the only genius he'd ever known. And what that tells me is when you're doing things that go against the grain or that people don't believe in, just keep going. Just keep going. I remember we kept trying to schedule to record, and it got to the point where the meds started taking his voice away. And he would apologize. This man is battling cancer and he's apologizing to me. And I had to remind him, you don't owe me shit. Like the fact that you are even willing to do this, the fact that you signed off on it, it's enough for me. But when he talked about wanting to tell his story and why it's important for us to all of us to tell ours, he said, you know what? Whew, and y'all got to quote him, so I have to read his words. We are of an era of young black folks who left it all on the court, sis, and we gave it 1,000%. So when this bitch is over, it's over. But we won't have any regrets. You feel me? I'm not holding back anything, and I'm not slowing down willingly. And he didn't. He didn't. He fought to the end. He fought to the end. He was loving to the end. He was available to the end. He made it clear that he was supportive till the end. For me, every time someone from the original Ferguson Frontline, those that came out in August, before this became a pop culture phenomenon, every time we lose one of them, regardless of what our relationship is, I feel like a piece of history, a piece of modern day civil rights history leaves this earth. And I believe to date, Orlando is either the 9th or 10th. I could be off by a couple, but we've been losing some very influential people that really kicked all this off and gave it fire. And it is scary to me. It honestly is. Thinking about Orlando's legacy makes me want to do better. It makes me want to do more. It makes me want to look at my checklist. What are all the things that I know damn well I'm called to do? What are all the things that I said I wanted to try out that I had no experience in? And just go for it. Not that I wasn't already, but that type of impact in the face of adversity, that push, that drive, that determination, it's everything. It's almost like he gave us our marching orders. He really did. I feel like he gave me mine. Tell your story. Don't leave this earth with any regrets. We are literally on borrowed time. And I thank you so much for the lessons. I miss him already. Like, I'm just sitting here waiting for some random tag with something he's got going on, something he's doing. But when you moved in that manner and you touched so many people, you can rest. You're allowed to rest. And as for me in my life, I'm going to keep pushing. Anybody that's come into contact with him should be going hard as fuck right now. Don't let him down. But my God, we gained one. He is going to be the best angel, best ancestor. His family is going to be blessed. And I honestly feel like the minute he gets settled in up there, he about to show out. I feel like he has in the last week. I'm watching people that are connected to him on social media and things that are happening with them right now, even with myself. I always said, and I think I said this last season that sometimes you got to have the right team upstairs for you to do the things you meant to do. And maybe some people needed Orlando upstairs more than what he could do down here. His capabilities have now expanded, and we should be blessed. I love you, Orlando. Thank you for everything. Thank you for giving us the blueprint on life well lived. I'm so glad you're not in pain anymore, but I gotta tell you, this shit hurts like hell. So it's not goodbye. It's see you later. And while you up there, ask Big Dog about my man, cause this batch down here, this ain't it. So we're still in a pandemic. I gotta switch it up today, y'all. We still in a pandemic. Love on your people. And when you get a free moment, please remember to clean out your dirty bag. Till next time.